Hi, greetings. It's me, Dr. Paul Gerhardt, and welcome to week 2 of MBA559. I'm really glad you're here and continuing your learning journey with us. Last week we explored what strategy is and why it matters for every organization. This week, we're going to build on that foundation by learning how to analyze the environment that organizations compete in. Understanding your industry helps you see why some companies thrive and others struggle, even when they seem to sell similar products and services. This lesson will guide you through fundamentals of industry analysis and show you how it connects to real-world business success. So let's get started. First, let's talk about environmental analysis to industry analysis. Your organization exists within a macro environment shaped by factors such as politics, economics, society, technology, the environment, and law. These larger forces affect every firm, but they usually do so through the industry in which the company operates. For example, a new environment regulation might not directly target one company, but it can change the costs, competition, and consumer preferences across an entire industry. When we study the industry environment, we focus on suppliers, competitors, and customers. Understanding these relationships helps us predict how profits are created and shared among all players in the value chain. Now let's talk about why industry structure matters. Industries vary greatly in profitability. Some industries, such as tobacco or pharmaceuticals, consistently earn high returns, while others, like the airlines or supermarkets, have historically struggled. The three main influences explains this difference. So let's talk about those. 1, the value of the product to the customers. If customers deeply value a product and find few alternatives, companies can charge more. 2, the intensity of competition. When too many competitors fight for the same customers, prices will fall and profits will sink. And 3, bargaining power along the value chain. When suppliers or buyers can demand better terms, they capture more of the profits for themselves. When leaders understand these structural forces, they can make smarter choices about where and how to compete. Now let's talk about one of my favorite models, Porter's 5 Forces framework. To organize our understanding of industry structure, we use Michael Porter's 5 Forces model. This tool helps us analyze the 5 competitive pressures that shape profitability. 1, rivalry among existing competitors. 2, threat of new entrants. 3, threat of substitutes. 4, bargaining power of buyers. 5, bargaining power of suppliers. Each of these forces affects how value is created and captured in an industry. Let's take it a little bit further and talk about these. Rivalry among existing competitors. Rivalry describes how aggressively companies compete with each other. It is strongest when there are many similar-sized firms, when products are nearly identical, and when fixed costs are high. For example, in the airline industry, it faces constant price wars because airlines offer comparable services and have fixed costs for planes and staff. When demand dips, they often slash prices to fill seats, which lowers profits. In contrast, pharmaceutical companies often have patents that protect them from direct rivals. Their products are highly differentiated and valuable, so rivalry is less intense and profitability remains higher. Now let's talk about the threat of new entrants. This force considers how easily new firms can enter an industry and compete. When barriers to entry are low, new players appear quickly and drive down profits. When barriers are high, established firms can maintain market power. Common barriers include high startup costs, strong brand loyalty, economies of scale, government regulation, and limited access to distribution channels. For example, Boeing and Airbus dominate aircraft manufacturing because it takes billions of dollars and years of testing to build a single certified airplane. That high barrier protects profitability. On the other hand, industries such as food delivery or e-commerce have low barriers, leading to intense competition. Let's talk about the threat of substitutes. Substitutes are products that satisfy the same need in a different way. They limit how much companies can charge because customers always switch. For example, streaming services became substitutes for cable television, and electric scooters or rideshare apps serve as substitutes for short car trips. As substitutes become cheaper and more convenient, the original products lose pricing power and profitability. Let's talk about the bargaining power of buyers. Buyers gain power when they purchase in large volumes, can switch suppliers easily, or have access to price information. Walmart and Costco can use their size to negotiate lower prices from suppliers, reducing supplier profits. On the other hand, an individual shopper buying a single item has little power. Understanding who the buyers are and how much leverage they have helps leaders anticipate price pressure in their industries. Bargaining power and suppliers. Suppliers have power when they offer something unique, control scarce resources, or are few in number. For instance, the semiconductor industry has only a few advanced chip producers, such as TSMC and NVIDIA. Their control over cutting-edge technology allows them to command higher prices and shape the entire markets. When suppliers hold this kind of power, companies downstream must adjust their strategies to protect margins. Forecasting industry profitability. The 5 forces framework does more than describe today's conditions. It helps us forecast future profitability. Ask questions like these. Will new firms enter technology with lower startup costs? Will innovation create new substitutes that attract customers? Will mergers increase concentration and reduce competition? Will regulation or resource shortages shift power between suppliers and buyers? For example, electric vehicle production has changed the entire auto industry. New entrants, new technologies, and new consumer expectations are reshaping profitability and competition for years to come. From analysis to strategy. Once we understand the forces shaping an industry, we can make 2 kinds of strategic decisions. 1. Strategic positioning. That means placing your firm where the forces are weakest. For example, Southwest Airlines focused on short routes and quick turnaround times, built a low-cost model that avoided direct competition with major carriers on long-haul flights. And 2, influencing industry structures, which means taking actions that reshape the industry in your favor. For example, Apple used ecosystem integration, linking hardware, software, and services to reduce the power of both suppliers and buyers. Great strategy comes from aligning your internal strengths with the external environment you face. Defining industry boundaries. Before you begin your analysis, clearly define your industry. The key ideas here are substitutability. On the demand side, are customers willing to switch between products? On the supply side, ask, can companies easily change what they produce? For example, what industry is Ferrari really in? While technology makes cars, it does not compete directly with Honda or Ford. Ferrari competes in the luxury performance car industry, where brand identity and exclusivity are central. Always define your industry based on the specific strategic question you're asking. Now let's identify key success factors. Such success factors, or KSFs, are the few things a company must do extremely well to survive and succeed. You can find them by asking two questions. What do customers truly value and want? And what must a company do to compete effectively? Here are a few examples. Steel manufacturing requires efficiency, financial strength, and reliability in supply. Fashion companies must combine creativity, speed to market, and strong branding. Supermarkets depend on location, pricing, product variety, and supply chain efficiency. Identifying these success factors allows companies to focus resources where they will make the biggest impact. Let's take a look at the airlines. The airline industry offers useful illustrations of how industry structure and key success factors come together. Airline profitability can be expressed as profitability equals yield times load factor minus unit cost. That's profitability equals yield times load factor minus unit cost. Yield is the average revenue per mile flown. Load factor is the percentage of seats filled. Unit cost is the expense per seat mile. Airlines succeed by improving efficiency, maintaining high load factors, reducing fuel costs, and building customer loyalty. Because competition is fierce and prices are transparent, the most efficient and differentiated airlines tend to perform best. Now, let's break away and talk about this week shortly in your MBA559 class. I really need your help in making the team project a success. This week, you'll begin your team project and form groups for your strategic presentation. Your first task is to choose an industry and conduct a 5 forces analysis. Each team should define the boundaries of your industry, analyze each of the 5 forces in detail, identify your industry's key success factors, predict how changes in structure could affect profitability. Working together gives you the chance to apply these ideas to a real-world situation and learn from others' perspectives. So remember, industry analysis gives us the power to see the bigger picture. By understanding how the structure of an industry shapes profitability, you can anticipate change rather simply react to it. The best strategists do not guess. They analyze, forecast, and position their firm thoughtfully. I encourage you to read Chapter 3 of Grant's Contemporary Strategy Analysis carefully this week and review the Harvard Business Review's 5 competitive forces that shape strategy. As you study, think about industries you know personally, maybe technology, retail, healthcare, or transportation, and try applying these concepts. Remember, This is also the week you get to choose your team in the Module 2 discussion area and meet your teammates. Then begin planning your group strategic presentation. Reach out, communicate early, and make sure everyone participates equally. Use the discussion threads to communicate with each other. Let me know if you want me to create a discussion thread specifically for your team and put that in Brightspace. I'm looking forward to hearing how your analysis develop over the next few weeks. If you have questions, please send me an email. I'm always happy to help. Thank you for continuing to bring your best work to our class. I'll see you in the next modules as we explore how to apply these insights to real strategic decisions. And I hope you have a very great day, because only you get to choose how you feel about it. I'm Dr. Paul Gerhardt.